Hello, hello, hello. I have been led to do a collective card reading today. I'm going to be using the Lightworker Oracle deck, the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck, and Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. And we'll start with Angels and Ancestors. I hope you're doing well. Please confirm I am clear of all negative entities, negative implants, curses, hexes, and spells, hooks, daggers, and bindings, high-level negative entity attachments, low-level negative entity attachments, clear of all astral bodies and auric field holes, rips, and tears. I have permission to do an oracle card reading today for the collective, and I am grateful to the universe. All righty. There's been a lot going on. There's been a lot energetically taking place. There's lots that we do not see with our human eyes, but we sense with our emotions and our clair abilities. And if you have felt that like energy shift, that paradigm shift, it is definitely happening. There are lots of positive events taking place, and there's lots of cleanup taking place. This cleanup is not new. Let me just add. The cleanup has been taking place, but there's an amplification of what was already in place. Things, obstacles that were in our way before are no longer there. And so truly, truly exciting time. Let's see what the cards reveal. Remove all negative energy from this deck. I'll call in the angels, the archangels, the ascendant masters, source creator, and Mother Sophia. For the collective in this now moment, what is the message that is in their highest and best good to receive? I believe today is February 19th, Wednesday. We used to call that peak of the week when I worked Monday through Friday. Peak of the week. Yeah, let's see. What is the highest and best oracle energy signature message for the collective? If you're new to my readings, I always just ask my pendulum, is this in the highest and best for whichever client I'm doing a reading for, highest and best for the collective. And my yeses are circles, highest and best for the collective. And my no is backwards and forwards. So yes is a circle. No is backwards and forwards. Okay. Let's see what the first deck has for us. Spirit Fox, trust your talents in changing times. That cute little guy. And, you know, they have a temperament, they have traits that are persistent, but very adaptive to what their environment presents them with. They'll work as hard as they need to work to get what they need, that they desire. So sometimes that desire comes easily when you have maybe an area where it's wooded. There's a lot of cover. There's a lot of protection. There's a lot of little things that they can trap and kill to eat. But they can also fend for themselves in different ways where maybe they don't have to hunt as much because maybe someone's putting their scraps out or any number of things. They are very adaptive to the environment. I've also seen, I haven't experienced it myself, I've also seen many foxes become friends with domesticated animals and play with them. They're not always predator prey type energy. I think they kind of wax and wane, go with the flow kind of a deal. And like all beings, they can have some that are good natured with a good soul and some that aren't. The message on the card is trust your talents in changing times. The times are definitely changing. I think everyone is acutely aware of that. It's changing for the better. Now, most people don't like change. Most people like to know exactly what to expect, when to expect it. That's a control issue that stems from your ego. Your ego likes to control everything and micromanage everything. They don't like surprises. That's not going with the flow. When energy is shifting and there's a paradigm shift, you want to be on that flow with the energy going through the collective. You want to be able to recognize it and respond. If you're locked into a schedule where every single minute of every single day is accounted for, how are you going to go with the flow as it changes? It's going to set your life into chaos. So I ask you to release that white knuckle grip you have on your life. Give yourself some freedom to just be and be ready, willing, and able to go with the flow and change according to the energy that comes through at the time. Stag energy. Trust and thrive. Trust and thrive. Now, these creatures are so wise. They really are. And they have to live and survive. And depending on what part of the country they're in, really tumultuous situations and circumstances. But they do, and they do a really good job of it. And they can discern who and what to trust pretty quickly. And so when you are discerning who and what to give your energy to, you want to invest your energy into another being or something that is going to also return that energy investment in you to thrive. So we don't want to just keep paying out time, energy, and money into something that we're just surviving on. We want to be able to thrive. In order to thrive, you have to look outside of what the norm is. This is asking you to grow. This is asking you to change. This is asking you to go with the flow, but be strong about it. Trust and faith brings you to the space of thriving from surviving. Fire guardian, ignite your passions. Absolutely. As the change in the world occurs, we're going to find ourselves with an opportunity to manifest our passions and desires. That is higher consciousness. That is higher consciousness thinking, feeling, and behaving. When we are able to work, and I use that term loosely, in a specific area that feeds our soul, it gives our spirit life, it brings us to life, we feel truly connected in that action, then you are manifesting your passions and your desires. And that is a huge aspect of the divine feminine. The divine masculine role is to provide a safe space of peace and support and encouragement in order for the divine or the divine feminine to be able to create without having to look over her shoulder, and to have the support to say, yes, follow your dreams, manifest your passions. Most people that I encounter, male and female, they have no idea what their passions are. They have no idea what their desires are because they have been in a fight or flight survival mode their entire existence. Work, 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 work. You only have a little bit of time off. And in that time off, you got to do everything that the house needs, everything that the family needs, everything that you need. And then back to clocking in, clocking out, clocking in, clocking out, and giving all your energy, time, and creativity away to the people that you have a job with. That is a very destructive imbalance of energy exchange. So the energy exchange of manifesting your passions and desires literally fuels your soul to grow in a positive way. And that is some of the joy, happiness, and bliss that people will get into a frequency space where they can receive that and not feel guilty about it. Because the culture that we've all been brought up in is that you work, 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 work. And when you think that you're going to fail, you double down and work harder. Well, that is force versus flow. When something is truly meant to be yours, when you are igniting your passion and you have faith and trust and you are going with the flow, then things flow into your vortex with ease and grace. It's not pounding a square peg into a round hole. Warrior, be fearless and stand strong. This is warrior times. The ones that succeed, they're not the rigid ones. They're not the ones that will not adapt, and they're not the ones that will not have compassion and a heart-centered purpose, while remembering they are warriors for the light. We did not get here easily. We got here because we had a warrior side. Now that we're here, we can start to manifest these desires and live in our joy and bliss. But it took a lot to get here, and we're not going to let that go. We didn't come this far to only come this far. Everyone, archangels, angels, regular humans that are in alignment to the divine, we all have a warrior side. And we have to, because as we traverse in alignment to source, those areas of friction around us that want to derail us are going to challenge us, and we have to stand strong as a warrior. I'm going to go to Beyond Lemuria now. Most of us have had lives in Lemuria. A lot of people have a very strong connection to the land of Mu and Lemuria. And in the remembrance of who and what we are and why we're here, that energy, those abilities, sometimes those traumas are what's coming back up right now, especially right now. Especially as we heal the divine masculine and divine feminine. Highest and best good from our Lemurian incarnations, our Lemurian soul emissaries and guides. This can be mer people, this can be whales, this can be native messages, indigenous messages. Highest and best for the collective. Unique gifts. Angel number 55. Unique gifts. We all have unique gifts. It takes every single one of us to be co-creators of the reality that is heaven on earth. And that's exactly what we're doing. There are many of us who are leaders in the fifth dimension already. And as we ascend, as the frequency rises, we merge this existence with that existence. In that energy, we have those abilities. That's our soul. It's not a different being, same soul, it's a different avatar. As your frequency rises, your abilities enhance. Things that you were born with, you have them right now, but they enhance because the frequency fine-tunes the power and the processing of that energy. We all have unique gifts. As they waken up, as they start to come online, we are called to acknowledge them, honor them. They are a gift. They are not a burden. Gracious receptivity. Being in the energy of gratitude is so powerful. I can't even, there's probably not enough words to describe the abundance of energy that is able to be received in a positive way when we are sending out heartfelt gratitude. When you are grateful for your challenges, when you are grateful for trauma, because it made you realize who and what you are. And it also gave you the gift of knowing who is in your vortex, who you could trust and who you can't trust. Getting to know yourself better on a true level, the energy body that you are. It's not about what your hair looks like or your eye color or your eyelashes or your nails or any of that stuff. That is just extra. The true essence of a being is their energy, their soul. When we have a grateful heart and we send out gratitude, we are rewarded by the universe. And so being in a state of gracious receptivity, when you ask for gifts from the universe wants you to be in gracious receptivity. And that means you're not micromanaging the universe. You're not telling the universe, I am deeply asking for all the abundance in the world that I know I deserve because I have done X, Y, and Z. And in my abundance, I want it to look like 5 million gold bars and $5 million. That's not how you manifest abundance to the universe. The universe doesn't need you to tell them how to deliver abundance to you. Gracious receptivity means I am graciously accepting what's in my highest and best right now, whatever that looks like. And then you truly accept it. What comes to you may be a lesson, maybe the lesson that gets you over the hurdle that's been in the place to keep you from the flow of abundance. You see, so try to avoid being the micromanager of your dreams and desires. Manifesting means that you're attaching a pure energy to the request, and you allow the universe to fill that request without your involvement. Harmonic flight. This is a twin flame card, as you can see. We've got also light and dark, male and female, however you want to look at that. It's represented in multiple ways, but in the center, you've got the Kundalini infinity symbols. And this is the eternal twin flame. So right now, many are reconciling with their twin flames, or they're becoming aware of their twin flames. And it's not truly not to be romanticized. Having a twin flame and being on a twin flame journey means that you have and had many thousands of incarnations where you're not together. You've had thousands of incarnations where you soul contract prior to that life beginning that you're not going to reunite, but you're going to divide and conquer. And we may work together, but we're not going to be unified, because we can be, in this particular life, we can be more helpful doing things platonically apart than romantically involved. And that's okay. There's going to be lifetimes that twin flames incarnate and they harm each other. That's the contracted event for that life. Again, that's okay, because a Christ consciousness being who has done the shadow work to no longer be triggered, they don't have low vibrational emotional reactions to things. So they're not jealous. They don't feel blame, shame, guilt, none of that stuff. You truly are elevated in your consciousness, and you realize on a very deep level that this is exactly what needed to happen in that moment. And what came out of that was super beneficial for the collective, for the universe. And you just take the positives and you let go of the other stuff, because it's all done. It's over with. You can't go back and undo it. Right? So the harmonic flight is truly finding a harmonious balance between these two energy bodies that are half of the same soul. In doing that, you do magnify the power of the one, right? You magnify that, it's multiplied. And that energy is the transformative energy of our time. So that's why it's happening over and over and over and over and over again. There's not just a few power couples, there's several that have reunited in this now moment, because this was the time for them to come together and be transformative as a couple, as a unit. There's going to also be transformative pairings that are not romantically involved, but just as powerful, because the energy couples, no matter where they are on the planet, no matter where they are on the universe, these souls are forever intertwined, forever intertwined. And so I definitely want to give a word of encouragement to those on the twin flame journey. It is not for the faint of heart, but so much can be produced to help the collective time and time and time again by our energy, that I honor you. Don't give up. Trust your innocence. This is a beautiful card. And it really does bring home where we find ourselves as we're awakening to the fact that we soul contracted the majority of the trauma in all of our lives. So most people are going to have just the knowingness of this life trauma, this life's blessings, this life's happiness. And some may minimize their eternal innocence. So I want to mention something that will probably trigger some, but just remember that triggers are places on your soul map where you have shadow work to do. Source Creator, Mother Sophia, and Yeshua and Maggie have had communication with me multiple times that there is no such thing in their existence of the man-made lesson of original sin. We're all innocents. We all have an innocent core. And Source and Mother Sophia experience all of our life experiences and our life events via what we can come into our avatar, into the body, and experience. We do that because they're kind of living vicariously through our form. That being said, if you're elevated above and a consciousness above, pointing fingers, laying out shame and blame and guilt and all those low vibrational things, then you're also above pointing out that someone is not innocent, especially at birth. That makes zero sense at all. It is just another man-made way to elicit a low vibrational feeling of shame in a child, in the parents that had the child. It's control, letting go of that and returning to the fact that we're all innocent in Source's eyes because we literally come here by his request. Then let yourself off the hook. All right. Remember, most of what we experience in our lifetimes, even whenever it's things we have to apologize for or be prosecuted for, whatever the case may be, it's soul contracted so that our soul learns what it's like to be in that space of negativity or to be in that space of positivity. Maybe you're the one that rescues a child. You also have to deal with the emotions of that. It doesn't make you no longer innocent because you've seen horrific things. There's a valuable lesson there in really reconciling what we have to go through as humans to check all the boxes of that particular soul contract and then transcend that life to another life and learn new karmic based lessons. Okay, none of them are going to be easy. This is not a walk in the park. This is Earth School on a magnificent scale. Not one being comes into this dimension and gets out very easily. If you live more than a day, you're going to have some trials. Let's move on to the Lightworker Oracle. Remove all negative energy from this deck. This deck is this is from Elena Fairchild, and the artwork is just phenomenal. One of my favorites. Lightworker message for the collective in this now moment. What is the highest and best Lightworker message for the collective in this now moment? For the collective. Right now, before I go any further, going back to this twin flame card, right now we are doing a lot of forgiveness and healing of the divine masculine and divine feminine. What the divine feminine has to forgive is a lot of the strife between men and women, right? What most of us have encountered are men that are not very confident and do not have any concept of what a divine masculine is. They may have been told some version of what a divine masculine does, but they haven't done the shadow work to truly embody that. And the other aspect is that as divine feminine, we didn't know what that meant either. And then we started to figure it out. And as we worked through that, we started to demonize the masculine even more, because we're looking around and we're saying, well, the women are waking up, but the men are still clueless, and the women are still having to do all the work for the men. Well, that's only true if you tell yourself that. When I firmly believe when men are given true heartfelt guidance and the opportunity to change in a safe space where they're not going to be judged, which, let's be honest, that's what all of us want, then they will align to a greater purpose, to that challenge. They're very competitive and they want to be protective. They just are not taught the basics of how to navigate the energies, how to navigate being a supportive protector for their divine feminine. It doesn't end after you get married. And that's the thing. There is an entire human characteristic that totally negates the characteristics and traits of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So you have to literally unlearn all the things you thought you were being taught for the right reasons and be accepting of new knowledge that's actually remembering who and what you are. It's a huge hurdle. It was put there on purpose so that divine masculines would be weakened and the divine feminine would be burdened, so that they would never reclaim their power again. But we are proving that to be history, and we are reclaiming our co-creative power together. And it's absolutely beautiful. Past life activation. Past life activation is huge right now because many of us are at a space where we've done a lot of healing trauma. And now we're ready because we've ascended. Our frequency is at a certain place. We've handled the ego. We can go back to these past lives and release and forgive events and people in those lives as well. Things that have kind of been locked away in our being. I always think about Isis when I see this card, just because of the image of those falcon wings or whichever kind of bird this is. It's really just like a lighted image. Can't really tell for sure, but it does trigger an Isis feel in me, and that she's transformative, and that ability to take something that no longer is alive and bring life back into that, and vice versa. That's true power. And with great power comes great responsibility. And many of us have had past lives where we also had great power, and some of us didn't do great things with it. And that requires reconciliation. It requires love and forgiveness and gratitude. Right. And so in order for us to fully transcend this dimension, you do have to revisit some things from the past. I'm not a past life regression champion. I don't want anyone to go back and just take up space living in a trauma over and over and over again, because that's not what you're here for. And that life is already lived. It's already been done. Those actions have already been played out. I am benefiting as well as from some others now of the release of our trauma from the Akashic records with the help of the archangels and our spirit team. And that has been beautifully transformative. If you're interested in that session is available on violetlotusenergy.com. shameless plug, but it seemed to be perfectly timed. Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ. This card is the Christ Consciousness Returns card, right? We see like the city of light, the city of crystalline light flowing through his being. When you fully embody Christ consciousness, you literally do shine the light of Christ from your heart outward to every space that you occupy. And it will trigger the shit out of people. People that are not normally around bright source light energy will get triggered in one way or the other. You will draw in, you will attract those light beings around you. They just want to be in your space. It just feels amazingly good, comforting, and they want that. They crave it. And then you will repulse those that are not in alignment to source. They want nothing to do with that. It feels super uncomfortable, and they will run. They will run. They may hurl accusations at you. They may call you names to make themselves feel better, but they will ultimately leave your vortex, because the light of source emanating from you is so palpable that it makes them truly uncomfortable. And this is our goal. This is exactly what we all want to find ourselves in, that predicament. Early on, after my lightning awakening, I recall going to a hair appointment, and when I walked in, the place was really busy. There were stylists that all had customers everywhere, and I was waiting on my stylist to arrive. And there was a lot of chatter. I was kind of in the waiting room, a lot of chatter. When she arrived and brought me back to her station, the entire place got quiet. And she and I were talking, and we talked the whole time I was there. The rest of the people were super quiet, and their energy shifted to being very curious, but also kept their distance. No one came into our vortex. It was like we were in a bubble. And I asked her after I left, I called her and I said, did you notice that? And she was like, oh my gosh, it was like night and day. And I said, yeah, that's a sign. Those people that didn't want to be anywhere near you or me, they don't have good energy. So you'll see that play out, but this is the goal. Cosmic Heart, Cosmic Christ, the return of Christ consciousness happens within us as we embody Christ consciousness, unity consciousness frequency. And that occurs by doing your shadow work and aligning to source every single decision you make every single day. Fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. Fifth ray of intellectual knowledge. I will put the image from the book on the fifth ray in the video, but I did a video on all of the rays, and it's in my playlist for the rays for the family of light, and it's beautiful. So check that out. That's got a lot of information in there. It's really important. Like if you look at this image, these people are like grayish, and they all look concerned or judgmental, worried faces all around this beautiful bright light, right? And this is intellectual knowledge. This is her feeling her energy and her alignment to source, and she's fully confident in what she's doing. And these folks around her are worried because they don't know what this feeling is like. They haven't embodied it yet. This is the image of what I described in this card. They definitely go hand in hand. When you are fully aligned and you've done your work and you are grounded to the energy of the planet and the energy of Source Creator at the same time, this is exactly what you feel like. And people around you will look at you like you are an alien because they don't know this energy. They only know fear mongering and shame and guilt and all these low vibrational things. They have not gotten their frequency adjusted by doing their work. Second ray of wisdom. So you've got two rays that are coming up in here because the lessons are so profound, so absolutely profound. It's not anything I'm not even sure where my book is at the moment. It's not anything that I can surmise, but again, check out my Ray playlist and I'll make sure and tag the videos. But every single one of the Rays that I cover is with an archangel that champion this embodiment. And there's so many lessons. I literally did a video on each Ray. So there's a lot to take in there. But the message of this reading for the collective is paradigm shifts, embracing your desires and your passions, really truly embodying whether you are divine masculine or divine feminine, and then accepting the changes that come with that. None of us can fully embody our higher consciousness roles if we are latched on to all the lower consciousness stuff. Okay. I'm not asking you to give up everything in your home. I'm not asking you to give up your job. I'm not asking you to do any of that stuff unless it feels right to you. When you are led to do those things, it absolutely felt 100% right for me because those choices were having a really negative effect on my life. I no longer have that because I've pivoted and I've fully aligned to source, and I make it a priority to make sure that what I'm doing is in my highest and best good energetically. So there's a transformative phase that we're all going in. We're all in different places, but we all have unique gifts. We all have a 5D role. We all have a role in this ascension, whether you're ascending now or you're ascending later. Maybe you have many, many more lives of transformative experiences to have. Either way, this is a time of expansive growth and embodying Christ consciousness. If you're interested in a reading, you can contact me. All the information is in the description box. I do hope you have a wonderfully blessed day, and I'll see you again next time.